G'day, welcome back to another episode of Togl on this very cold, wet Tasmanian day. Weather's not great today, and normally I wouldn't have bothered to come up to the block on a day like this, but there are a few things that I want to get done. Number one is I've been thinking about this issue I had with the water coming through. So what I did was I just went down to Bunnings and I got a large tarp, fairly cheap tarp, but it's a heavy duty one. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to spread a tarp over the top of the roof just to stop any more water blowing up under the tin there, because I think that's what happened. I've been thinking about it, and when the weather gets drier, which will be in a few months time, I'll probably get a couple of tubes of silicone and the silicone gun, and I'm just going to seal up all of the joins just to make sure that water never blows up in under there again. And I have still been sourcing the 1.2 by 2.4 boards that I want to put on the inside, because that will definitely help as well. But the quickest fix I could do was to grab a cheap tarp, throw it up on top. So I'm going to do that now, and then depending on what happens with the weather, I'd like to cut a little bit more firewood. I also, on the last episode, I showed you where that water was seeping down the slope on the roadway towards the bridge, and I need to carve a channel down the right. So if I get enough breaks in the rain, I'll probably go and do that as well. But once the weather sets in and it's too bad, I'll probably head back home. I still need to clean up those beehives from week before last. They've still got full of dead bees. They're probably going really mank. So I need to get in and cut all that out and melt all that wax down and get all them cleaned up. So, and that's a good job that I can do in the garage while it's wet and rainy and not so pleasant to be outside in. So first things first, I'm going to get this tarp up. Alright, that covers up 90% of where all the joins are, which is great, and just in time too, because the next lot of rain's coming through, so I've got to get this camera out of here. So I've broken through into where that spring was. All this water is now channeling down through here. So all this water would have been running down the middle of this road. That's why I needed to dig this channel off to the side. Now what I'm going to do, it's actually running across there. I want it to run off into there, so I just need to dig a bit more of a channel. I'll have to do that by hand. But all this water that you see running now, all that water was coming down through the middle of the road here. Now it's not. There's no water trickling down through here at all. So that's going to make this roadway a whole lot better. And you can see there's a lot of water running through that. So a couple of hours work, but definitely worth it. So pretty happy with that. I'm just going to hand dig this last little bit, and then I've got a few other things I want to get done. Thankfully, it's only been light rain so far. Well, Cody and I are just shooting up to the block tonight. Actually, shooting is the name of the game. We're going to be up there shooting a couple of wallabies. Need some meat for the dogs and we need some meat for us. Wallaby meat's actually really nice. I love it, so does Code. Cooked up a few nice dishes, bit of jerky, so hopefully we'll get some for the table and some for the doggies. It is bitterly cold and the wind's up, so I don't know how many are going to be out, but the aim of the game will be to get 5 or 6 in quick succession, get back home to the warmth. But I thought I'd show you a little bit of that this time. I've been doing this on and off for the last year or so, but never really showed you guys, so I'll keep the goriness out of it. But this is what we do, you know, we harvest. You've seen me fishing, that's harvesting meat. Well, this is harvesting meat too. So anyway, I'll see you up at the block and we'll see how we go. Alright, we're up at the block. It is cold and windy. Now I know the GoPro doesn't film that well in the dark, but we'll see how we go. So we've got our rifles there ready to go. Cody's just setting that one up. So that one's the 223. That's the one that we take the wallabies with.
Nice, no fancy one that we don't get out much.
Yeah.
Clear the rust out of the barrel, that's all we're doing.
Okay. I look a bit like Mawson, don't I? The Polar Explorer. This is so, because it's freezing, so I've got all this warmth on. So rifles are set up, and now we're just going to cruise out of the road a little bit here, out into the paddock, and then we're going to see what's around, and hopefully I'll be able to, I have a scope with night vision on it. Some of you have been watching for a long time might recall I used it to film the penguins down on the beach a year ago, but so hopefully with the night vision scope I'll be able to record a little bit of these wallabies jumping around. Like I said, it's just a part of life, isn't it? You know, I mean, every time you go and buy meat, an animal died for it. And this is exactly the same, so there's nothing glorious about it. It's just getting meat for food. So we'll go and we'll hopefully get a few.
to your right. Further on the fence line to your right. Right, right, right. Got him. Right in front of you on the ground. Stop. Hold it. Right. Right. Yep. Left. Yep. Down. Left, beside me. You might not get that far down. He's going to the fence line. Further left. Oh, they're too far gone. Oh, yeah, all good, go back.
He was there.
He was right next to us, yeah.
Alright, we'll go and collect those. Oh, down.
Hey! Hey. Another one to the left. 3 pickets to the left.
That's 5.
Alright, so that was pretty good, 5 for 5. I was pretty happy with that. Now we'll just go and collect them all and bring them back up. Here's the first one. They're all good sized wallabies too. So there we are.
Very clean shot. Very clean shot. Straight through the shot.
Right in the chest.
Vitals.
Yep. Where you want it to be. Either that or the head, so nice. We'll go and collect the others.
Ready?
No.
Hey?
No, where is it? Yep. Missed him.
Aiming for his head.
Yep. Yep. Alright, well, next morning after we were up there getting those wallabies, and I kept all the gruesome stuff out. So this wallaby here is now being prepped. It's been skinned and gutted and left to hang overnight, which just lets it cool down, and The good thing about the weather here at the moment is it's so cold outside. I can hang it in the shed. It's like hanging in a fridge. It's like 3-4 degrees. So it's perfect, and it's still really cold to the touch. So the meat's great. So what I'm going to do is just show you how I would break this up into a few of the parts. Now, it might look a bit icky to some people, but as I said, you know, you go to the shops and you buy your meat. Someone else has done this, you know, whether it be with a lamb or a chicken or a cow or whatever. You know, this is just a process that has to be done. If we're going to be self-sufficient up on the block, not only will I need to do this to wallabies, but I'm going to need to do it to any of the beasts that we raise for meat as well, you know, pigs and whatnot. Apologies for that dog barking in the background. That's the neighbour's noisy dog. Barks all the time. Anyway, so yeah, you know, it's a part of life. So basically, as I said, skin, gutted, removed the tail and the head and everything, and the feet. It basically, to me, it looks a bit like a big rabbit, really. So the first thing I like to do is I start at the back quarter, which is where there's the most meat, and then I just remove the back leg. And for anyone that's done anything like this with any animals, you soon start to realise, like, you learn the muscle groups. You do learn a lot about animal anatomy, and it's amazing. They're all very similar. So I can see a line right through there. What I might do actually is I might bring the camera in a bit closer, so you won't necessarily see me, but you'll see what I'm doing with the animal, and you'll see what I mean about some of these lines and stuff. Okay, so as I was saying, you can see there's a line right here, there's another line right there. So this is the separation of the muscles. You can see probably this line here. So that's the back strap that they talk about in all animals. Runs either side of the spine, and that's some really tender meat in there. So what I will do, then if I roll this over, as you push that apart, you can follow down. You can see where the gaps are. So you're not cutting a lot of meat. Your knife is just kind of guiding between the muscle groups, and then you can just break. Quite often, just separate with your fingers. And what we're looking for in there is that little ball joint, which is the hip joint. So we really don't need to cut through any bone either, if you just follow the muscles and break the animal apart at the joints. Now, I'm no expert at this, but I get the job done. So this is the hip bone in there. You can see there's a bit of the animal fat. They don't have a lot of fat, and the fat is yellow. I tend to trim all that fat off anyway before cooking. So straight away, so there's a nice leg. You do that up as a roast, or you can debone it, and you could cut some steaks out of it or whatever. What I'd like to point out too is, you look at the colour of this meat. This isn't a dark red meat like kangaroo would be, or venison, and those sorts of real gamey animals have that dark red meat and a really strong flavour. This wallaby meat, you know, you would look at that could quite easily be, if you were just looking at a piece of that, like a piece of lamb, or even a piece of beef, but more like a piece of lamb. And that's why I reckon it's a lot like lamb, and it's a very mild flavour. So for people that don't like game animals, duck and venison and whatnot, you may find the wallaby, especially a smaller wallaby rather than a larger wallaby. I mean, they're all small, but I mean, like, you know, smaller one. It is quite a nice meat, yeah, and flavours up really well if you're going to put some seasoning on it or do a curry or something with it. So yeah, it is a very mild meat. So that's one leg off. Then we just follow the same thing with the other leg. Now I won't show you that part because you've just seen how I do one.
So the next thing we'll do, you've heard of tenderloins. So the tenderloins are the two muscles that run down the inside here, and they can just be cut out as well. So funny, the most tender muscles that you'll get in any animal are the muscles that run along the spine. Tenderloins on the inside, back straps on the outside. So we just follow the spine the same way for anyone that's cleaned a fish, or filleted a fish I should say. You can just follow down the spine when you're filleting a fish, and it's pretty much the same. So I'm getting my hands in the way there a lot, sorry about that. I'm just trying to get that out to show you. Now obviously on a wallaby it's a very small little tenderloin, but it's a very tender piece of meat. When you've got a couple of them, beautiful. So 2 tenderloins there. You know, you think about an animal like a lamb or a cow, I mean they're going to be huge. So just roll him over. And like I said, these are the back straps there, so we can just follow the spine. See, if this was a fish and you're filleting, you'd be going through like that, just following that spine. Same principle. Just following the ribs there. Around this, you can see the line. Is let the knife follow the bones. It's almost out now. And there we have a back strap right there. Nicked the edge of it, but yeah, so there's the back strap. Again, a very tender piece of meat. And obviously the other back strap would be the same. Now the little front legs, yeah, you could put them into like a casserole or something, along with the ribs and other pieces. I've smoked the ribs before, which are quite nice. We'll use parts of it to make jerky and that sort of thing, but that kind of just shows you a couple of the quick principles. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you, but so as I say, you know, this is just a part of living. You know, we want to eat meat. I want to be responsible for it. I know that this animal didn't even know its death came. Like, it was instant. Boom. It was out there eating grass. Lights out. No suffering to the animal. It had a really good life living up there on our property, and now we won't waste any part of it. You know, we'll eat it. Some will go to the dog. Some will go to us. The skin, I've actually taken the skin off, and I'll show you that, because this time I'm actually going to tan the skin and see how that goes. So I have done tanning before, so I'm just going to, so I've got the wallaby skin, and I'm going to tan that and see how that comes out, because like I said, you know, I'd rather, if I'm going to kill an animal, I'd rather use as much of it as I can and not waste anything. So
that's what we do. Anyway, I'm going to get back to getting all this sorted out. I've got a few others I need to prep up for the dogs as well, because we've got a couple for the dogs. We've got the one for us to eat. And yeah, I'm not sure what's going to be next. Sit tight, we'll see. Come down to a scene of destruction. Those hurricane force winds on Saturday night, yeah, we've been seeing trees down all the way up here, and we've just walked into this, and how we actually haven't had any damage so far. Damage to our property, as in like the timber mill and the tractor, and that is amazing. This huge tree right through here, look at how much earth it's lifted up. Let's climb over the back here. This was all the ground. You can see the trees sticking out. The whole earth has lifted up, probably 4 or 5 meters of earth, just boom. It shows you the power. It's insane. There's going to be weeks worth of cleanup to do up here now. Lots and lots of chainsaw and get all this fixed up. And there's just trees down everywhere. We came in at our front gate. There's a big tree down right beside the front gate. One of the limbs has bent the gate a bit, but we couldn't get through that way. And we can see trees down all the way up through here past the bridge. Thankfully, none of them have hit the bridge. But we're just going to take a little bit of a walk and see what else is down. Across our whole 300 acres, there must be hundreds of trees down. Well, we are really lucky that that tree didn't do more damage there, and it goes to show how well with all of us, Kay helped and Cody, that we got that roof awning built over the timber mill works, because it's held up all that weight of that tree. But as you know, look at your watch, it's been half an hour, so it's time to wrap this episode up. So you'll have to tune in next week and see the cleanup, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more damage around the place as well, with as in trees down. So yeah, I'm going to come back up here tomorrow and start filming that and start cleaning all this up. That'll be next week's episode. So till then, have a great week and a great weekend. I'll catch you then. Cheers.